The highlight of my kids, Jarrod got to deliver pot to Cheech and Chong.
Yep. Do you know how much my heart broke?
And then he bitched at me because he said he had to pay a delivery tax on it. It cost him a fortune. But he got to take it and deliver it to Cheech's hotel room. So nice. It kind of made his life a little bit. All right, Ryan, what do you know?
Man, this was an eventful week for all of us, right?
Yeah. It's been excitement beyond belief at good old Lexington Comic-Con week.
I don't know if I told you or if we had a chance to talk down there, but I had a tooth, ended up with a crack in it and had to have it extracted on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me that. It was sort of in brain fog when you did.
Yeah, that's what I said. I figured it didn't register, but I was like, Tuesday, after I got that pulled, about 6, 7 o'clock, I'm like, oh, my God. I can't. There was no way, if things did not improve somewhat on Tuesday, that I'd have made it down there to help. And I was like, God, I can't do that to them.
Oh, shit. Scary week then.
Yeah. So it was.
So what? They went in and they pulled it?
Yeah.
Now you got a fucking hole?
Now I got a hole for basically I got to let that heal for a couple months and then go back in and they'll put a graft and put a freaking drill into my bone and put a tooth back there. Ooh. So, yeah, that's upcoming.
So dentists freak me out. So my dentist is a girl that I went to high school with. I know her well. I'm not scared of her.
Yep.
And I'm not really scared of going to the dentist. I just don't like it.
Yep. I hate dentists.
Luckily, I don't have, other than my wisdom teeth, I really have no teeth problems whatsoever. But, gosh, I just don't like going.
This guy I stumbled across probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Always was like going to avoid the dentist like the plague. I didn't want any part of it. And then I ended up going in for a cleaning. This guy was a dentist, and he was a cool dude. He was very relaxing, very charismatic. So it was like that ease of like, this is going to be miserable. We both agree to it, but he's like, I'm going to try to make this as light as possible. I ended up, I had to have a root canal about 1 year ago or something like that, 1.5 years ago. And
I don't even like the way that sounds. Root canal.
It's a horrible experience. Everybody but it wasn't that bad. I mean, from the local, he put me to sleep, gave me the nitrous gas. He's like, I have the ability for you not to be in pain during the procedure. So
he probably fucked you while you were asleep.
He probably did. My mouth was really dry.
Right. Yeah. He probably put things in your mouth he shouldn't have. Either way.
I came up with a little slobber. But
either way. But I mean, I knew where it was going when you started talking about him being charismatic.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I was setting it up. I
knew where that was going. All right. But anyway, so they took your tooth out, and now you're good as gold, or you're still in pain?
The pain is gone. Pain probably subsided for the most part around Friday, as long as I was eating soft foods and all that kind of stuff. So on a road trip, that's a little bit tougher to get, so the ramen was a nice little, thing that they had at the con, but so it ended up functional and all right, but I'm still working on a bum wheel.
I got back on Monday evening and I said I wasn't going to do anything, but then Tuesday I fucking loaded a truck up, I unloaded a truck, reloaded it with shit, and then yesterday I took a load of stuff up to my stores in Huntington and then caught all the snakes up and got everybody fed and watered and all that bullshit. And then today I returned the truck, and now I think finally, maybe tomorrow, I don't have to do shit.
Well, you kind of buried the lead of that random photo that I got on Tuesday, your first day back.
Oh, what was it?
With your parking lot?
Oh, fuck yeah. I come home on shit, I forgot about it. I come home on Tuesday or on Monday evening. I didn't go there, but anyway, on Tuesday morning, I went to Snake Shack, which is, by the way, what we've started calling that place. I went there and pull in. There's a giant fucking crater in the parking lot, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know where this fucking came from, but I called the city, said, hey, I got a big sinkhole in my parking lot, and they said, how big? And I said, hey, big enough to put a fucking Jeep in, and they said, we'll be down there. And like 10 dudes showed up from the city Everybody's standing around scratching their head trying to figure out how this happened.
2 to work, 8 to watch.
Yeah. Finally, another dude pulled in. He said, "Boy, it's got bigger since I saw it this morning." I said, "You saw it this morning?" I said, "What time?" He said, 7:30 this morning, and there was a garbage truck in it. So I guess a garbage truck had driven through the parking lot and fell in the damn thing, or it gave away under the garbage truck. Either way, it took 8 or 10 of them to decide that they had no responsibility in this whatsoever. So eventually, they just all packed their shit up and left. And I said, "Well, what should I do with it?" And he said, "I don't know, fill it full of fucking something and pave over it." So that's what we did. Today, I poured it full of concrete.
Yep.
And they're going to blacktop back over it tomorrow and hope she don't come back. Now I have nightmares that's where, like, my drains from my gutters or something go, and next week it's going to be full of concrete, and I'm going to go, oh, shit, there's nowhere for the water to go now.
It's going to eat the building.
Yeah, but, you know, I have noticed sinkholes just happen, evidently. It's
especially in a dilapidated area that, you know, is still operating for probably, I mean, we got so many clay pipes.
Yeah. So the one dude from the city, like 9 dudes agreed it wasn't their problem. The other dude kept saying, "How can this not be our problem? These things happen all over the city. It's just old infrastructure." Yep. And I was with him, 100%.
Yeah.
But the other 9 guys outvoted him and said, he's fucked. He's got to pay for it. So it's nothing $5,000 won't fix.
Yeah.
So $5,000 later, it's getting full of concrete today.
Because in all honesty, you probably could have pushed and got an attorney, and it was their responsibility.
Cost me more than $5,000.
Exactly, and that's the exact point.
Yep.
Is that it was going to cost you more to do that.
Yep. And this way, it's fixed. By morning, it'll be fixed.
Yeah.
You know, 3 days in and out, or 3.5 days in and out. It'll be a moment in history that I'll write down and say, well, that was the first time that shit ever happened. And luckily, nobody got hurt. Nobody, you know, the garbage truck fell through it, but he managed to get the garbage truck out before it, I guess, got too big. What bothered me about the whole thing is it was like a little well kind of thing under there, and all the bricks were nice and shiny and pretty and clean. So that just about tells me there's had to have been water in that sumbitch recently, because underground bricks aren't usually shiny and pretty and clean.
No, not if they get something on it,
Yeah,
right?
So anyway, I don't know what's going to happen now that she's full of concrete, but I guess we'll find out. So it's been a really eventful couple weeks. The other thing that we have to address here, and we don't have to really address this on the podcast, but we are going to buy a house this week, I think.
Yep.
I think. So going back to this deal we talked about last episode, is we're gonna decide if we're gonna play hardball on this fucking deal, or if we're gonna let their emotions get involved.
Yep. Yeah. And I got thoughts on that. Well, that's probably best off podcast until we get her under contract.
But anyway, it's just one of the things that crossed my mind. So what else is going on? Tell me something good.
Yeah, man, something good.
Or ask me a fucking question. I don't care.
I got another award.
Oh, what for?
Just performance last year. I got my official Icon Award, which puts me in the top. I think it's like top 2 or 3% of.
They give you
some 1,000 agents.
Don't I remember that you saying that you get, as you get more of those awards, you get like some company share or something.
Yeah, as long as I keep that, then the company gives you stock options back, or stock back, basically, with if you hit that, once you hit those criteria. And this is like my 7th or 8th year in a row of getting it. So it's always nice to get some free stock, even though the stock market's where it is. But
yeah.
I didn't pay for it, I guess.
Hey man, speaking of the fucking market, and this is apolitical talk right here, but it cost me $280 fucking to fill up the rental truck before I returned it. $280 worth of diesel fuel to fill that sumbitch up before I took it back. And that was the most painful experience, and this is saying something. That was the most painful experience I've had in the last 2 weeks. Because normally I don't even look at that shit, but my credit card kicked off at $150, and then I had to re-swipe the sumbitch. So it made me acutely aware of how much
you were dropping
how much I was dropping in that damn tank. And man, that's painful.
Yeah, I mean, hell, gas is over $4 a gallon. It's right at $4 a gallon, just regular gas.
I mean, diesel fuel's $1 million a gallon. I'm convinced of it. It's $280 a truckload is what it is. I don't know how much a truckload is, but I don't know how much it is a gallon. But $280 hurt me bad.
Hurt you.
It made me Made my butthole pucker a little bit.
But in regards to the con, before we get moving on into the question, just did it perform as you had expected or hoped?
Yes, is the short answer. We had a couple little snafus here and there, but mostly it was very uneventful.
It's a 3-day event. If you don't have a few snafus, then you probably didn't plan it right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's going to be shit that goes wrong, even as perfect as you plan it.
From a customer service perspective, I'll tell you, I learned a very valuable lesson. We fucked up on Thursday. We had this poster that people bought, and then people paid $80 for this exclusive print. And it's just an 11 by 17 poster that an artist did, and we only had 100 copies made of it, and we sold them for $80, and the artist signed them. Okay, we'd only pre-sold like 30 of them, so it wasn't that big a deal. And however many sales is what there is. You know, the rest of them get trashed. Either way, like 30 people had pre-bought them, and somehow they got mixed up with all the other free shit. And we just gave them all away at admissions. And then when people started showing up from, where's the print I bought? It was like, oh, you bought that? Whoa, shit. And the people at admissions were like, we fucked up. So, you know, we all got together and figured out. And the only right answer was we just immediately refunded everybody that bought them. And we were trying to figure out, there was 100 ideas tossed around about how we were going to break this. But essentially, I sent an email to the 30 people that bought them and just said, I fucked up. Didn't exactly say it like that. But sorry, we messed up. Here's your money back. I wish I hadn't messed up, but I messed up. And I didn't get a single person mad at me over that. And normally those situations always devolve into people cussing you on Facebook.
Well, I think you did the number one thing that people want. Yeah. Is like, you fucked up.
Yeah, we just
took
went straight
ownership
to it.
And you made some way of appeasing them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. 90% of the time, people are going to try to talk their way out of, it didn't get delivered, or whatever, some bullshit.
Yeah, it was just
and people don't want to hear that.
Yeah, it was just easier to just say, I fucked up, gave them away.
Yeah.
And nobody bitched. Yeah, I was amazed. Normally, if the smallest little thing goes wrong, people will go to Facebook. And then you get, 30 people bought this thing, but 70 people are going to talk shit about you on Facebook.
Yeah,
so
then that's going to spur. Next thing you got 2,000 people, them shady motherfuckers. Did this and did
so
that.
Anyway, it worked very effectively to just own it, and we had it overdone, fixed, and refunded in 15 minutes time, and that was probably the biggest fuck up of the whole weekend, and that was literally 15, 20 minutes worth of dealing with in and out. Other than that, man, smooth as silk. It was horribly anticlimactic, really, but that's the way you want it.
Yeah.
You don't want any big. The elevator and the escalator broke down on Saturday morning.
Yeah, I was involved in part of that. Because people were coming down, and next thing I know, there would be people coming in the room, and it'd be nothing. I'm like, I thought this was supposed to be busy, and then 5 minutes later, like, whoa, yeah, and then nothing again. I'm like, okay, this is weird flow, and then there'd be a bunch, and it was basically them trying to figure out, okay, now we got to get this group down.
Yeah. So they finally got those fixed, and we got people where they were going, and all worked out. Everybody seemed to pretty much have a good time and made their money, and no real fires. Man, so that, to me, that's the measure of success right there. Nobody yelled at me.
Yep.
All weekend, nobody yelled at me. I think Katrina got yelled at once, but that was just some asshole. You know, there's different kinds. There's getting yelled at when you know you deserve it, and getting yelled at when you know this person's just an asshole.
Yeah.
So I don't give as much weight to those. Anyway, overall, 9 out of 10 probably, from my perspective.
Yeah.
I shouldn't tell this. I hope my staff doesn't listen to this. There was about an hour and a half. There was about 90 solid minutes on Saturday where I took a nap.
I bet that hasn't happened.
I've never done that. And I didn't do it on purpose. I walked up to the hotel room and sat down on the edge of my bed and woke up 90 minutes later. I was like, whoa. Yeah, that's never happened.
Yeah.
And nobody missed me while I was gone. So I don't know what that says, really, but it either says things went really well or nobody gives a shit where I'm at.
Where you're at.
Where I'm at. Any
go
time.
Away.
Yeah.
Don't be here.
Yeah, don't be here. Don't be in the way. Anyway, so on that conversation, my question for you, just because I was curious earlier in the week. So you came down and you kind of worked crowd control, and I told you before you got there, you unless you bring somebody with you, you're kind of going to be on an island there a little bit.
Yeah.
So you were kind of by yourself a lot of times, but I'm going to tell you, normally speaking, Brian, my maintenance guy, stands right there where you were standing most of the weekend. And anytime I come downstairs, I see Brian, and I know that things are under control.
Yep.
And Brian, through a course of events, wasn't there. Anyway, you were the person that every time I came downstairs, I would notice you standing there. And if you weren't going crazy, I assumed that room was under control.
Yep.
And mostly you were just fine. Yep. Everything was just cool.
I never felt at any point. The only time I felt like, and it was very brief, but the only time that I felt like, okay, what, trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing, because the direction that I was given was
very little.
Maybe 90 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. And
if a line gets too long, take it somewhere else.
And then the guy that I thought you told me to kind of hang on to, if I'd have hung on to him, there would have been nobody on the floor.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Not saying he wasn't doing stuff. He was gone doing stuff the entire time.
The problem is it's usually Brian and Tyler down there, and I knew Brian wasn't going to be there, so I thought Tyler would be there all the time. And then I realized that Tyler does 1,000 other things. Yeah. He can't fucking be there all the time. So you became the guy that was just standing there. You were on an island by yourself most of the fucking weekend, but it worked. It was fine. But anyway, my question is, even though it was probably pretty lonely for you standing there doing nothing, watching people walk by you, did you have any fun, and do you want to do it again? Or are you fucking out? Yeah, some people have had their fill after one.
And done. No. Yeah. No, I mean, I actually enjoyed it. The good thing is that I'm used to being in rooms where I don't necessarily know people, and being able, that doesn't intimidate me or scare me.
Yeah.
And I understand there are people that would be a nightmare.
Oh my God. To me, no fucking way I want to be by myself and not know anybody.
I instantly ingratiated myself with the volunteers and all that kind of stuff. Because to start, like where I was going with that was to start with, I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And I was trying to figure it out. And then finally, after a while, so the good thing is I came down, I was there on Friday. Friday was like that. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be here, and looks like I got this whole side for,
yeah, pretty much.
But it was just busy enough to where I was like, okay, I figure out, and I was like, okay, now I got a plan for this. And when so by the time we got to Saturday, I felt like Saturday was a fucking breeze, even though it was pretty busy, because anytime somewhere got a little crowded, I knew exactly what to do.
You knew where they should go.
And I knew that going in Saturday morning, I knew exactly each one of these lines, what I was going to do with it, because I'd already kind of thought about it. So that didn't bother me. The only thing that was tough for me, honestly, is just I've got a bad back. So staying in for 10 hours I don't do that every day. So that was the only thing that was kind of tough. But none of it bothered me. It was... like I said, a lot of the volunteers I got to be kind of buddies with, and they bought right in and provided some good laughs, honestly. There was one particular girl that just cracked my ass up because it was with the new bond line. And, of course, we were bringing him out, and this particular volunteer had worked on the other side, at the end where he was at, within 10 feet of him, all day Friday, half a day on Saturday. And his line was really long. Yeah. So at one point she got moved over, and she was working the line at the overflow spot. Well, he was freaking amazing. He had a lot of people. I watched him, his interactions with everybody. Everybody got their moment with him, and he was very diligent about that. And at one point he took a break, and he went and he stood in line right there. So he's right beside me, he's standing in line. And he goes, is this line this long for him? Really? Y'all been here for a while? And he's asking questions, and people are trying to figure out, and she's like, sir, this is not the end of the line. It is long. And I'm just laughing. So then he looks at me, and he's laughing. And she's like, why are you laughing at me? And so that just makes me laugh more. And it was probably 5-10 minutes later before she realized, oh, shit. That was him. Once he walked on, I was like, that was Neil.
That was him. So what do you think about the Mummies?
Mummies were fun. Yeah, the mummies were fun. The only thing that and that's any live venue or something like that, is music you can hear just fine. Yeah. You never hear the lyrics and the audio from that standpoint, so you're just kind of going with the vibe of it. But you didn't get to hear any of the language that was behind
of the innuendo that's in there. Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty good time. Did you happen to stay till it was over?
I did not stay till the end, no.
Okay, so evidently at the end we were supposed to have 6 stagehands down there to unload or to reload the truck. And there were probably 25 people in the room when the show was over, and the tour manager messaged me. He said, "Hey, do we have 6 stagehands?" And I said, "How many people are in that room right now?" And he said, "I don't know, there's 20 or 25. I said, "Pick 6, go."
Yeah.
They're probably all staff. Put them to work. Anybody's still in there. And so I later found out, the next day, I found out one of my buddies from high school, I guess they asked him to they asked him to help, and he got it. He was very drunk. And he got up on stage and picked something up and held it above his head and said, "Look at me, I'm a roadie. I get paid in pussy and drugs." And they said, "Sir, put that down."
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay." So anyway, they will not use anyone for a road.
They do have some limits.
They do have some limits as to who qualifies as a stagehand, I guess. Don't necessarily have to be in a stagehand union or anything, but probably sober is a good idea. It was a good time Saturday night. I watched out my window as they loaded the truck. It was interesting. Anything else exciting happen to you while you were there? Did you get any? Or do you have any massive observations about your time there? What have you learned?
What have I learned? It's an interesting group. That it was for the most part a pretty lively and fun group. I didn't see a lot of bitching. I'll tell you one of the things that I did hear repeatedly, which I thought was cool because people had no clue.
Yeah.
Our relationship, none. Which I was thinking, okay, this will be kind of cool. Maybe someone's like, "Man, I want to tell you something about this con." And I was like, "All right, cool. I'm going to get some intel.
You're going to get some scoop here."
But everybody was talking about just how organized, how fantastic, the celebrity lines, just the fact of how everything was wrangled, and you may wait a long time, but everybody knew exactly, and there was a lot of control there. So that I thought that was kind of cool.
I hear that a lot. I always envision, especially when it comes from agents and celebrities, I always feel like it's just their job to be nice and say that shit. So I never know really whether to take it or not. But I do appreciate it, whether it's bullshit or not. A lot of people tell me that we do really well as compared to other places. And I've been to a lot of other cons, and every one I go to, I see 2 or 3 things they do really stupid and 2 or 3 things they do really well. So I like to think we probably have some of each.
Yeah.
But everybody was very nice to me. Everybody said good things. But all that organization shit mainly comes from Kat. So she does a pretty good job of keeping everything flying.
Yep.
But all right, fuck.
Well, I tell you so I'll go ahead and ask my question because it's still right in line. I guess currently this is going to be the con episode. But,
evidently.
And just so you know, whatever in the hell you answer to this, it's wrong.
Oh.
Because if people are listening and they went to the con, they're going to have their own opinions.
Okay.
My question to you is, you definitely have a different perspective on what this is. But if you were not the one that puts the whole thing together, what would have been the top 3 things that you would have wanted to do while you were there? If you were there as just a guest.
Man, I don't know whether I want to say this or not. But fuck it, I will. I probably wouldn't go. I mean,
in theory, if you win,
because
I'm the same way. I don't know that I'm traveling to Lexington to go to Lexington Comic-Con.
I don't know if that's me. Even especially 12 years ago, if I'd have seen it advertised, it would have been one of those things that I went, "Oh, that'd be cool. I should go to that." But then I wouldn't go.
Kind of like a concert,
the
concert series, right?
Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, that'd be cool," but I won't go. I'll tell you. Let me tell you this: the highlight of my kids' weekend. My oldest son, Jarrod. I'm not sure whether I should say this or not, but fuck it. We live in the year 2026, whatever fucking year this is of our Lord. Jarrod got to deliver pot to Cheech and Chong.
Yep. Do you know how much my heart broke? Whenever I was like, "No, why? One time."
Yeah. And so I went to Ryan and said, "Ryan, you don't have any weed, do you?" He said, "No, I don't." I said, "Fuck, okay, well, I've been asked. I got to find somebody that's got some weed." And Jarrod said, "I don't." Actually, Jarrod said, oh, yeah, sure, in my car. I said, oh, what you got? He said, just have a little Roach. I said, no, Jaron, no, I need a real quantity of real marijuana. And he said, oh, no, I don't have that. And he said, but I'll get it delivered. And then he bitched at me because he said he had to pay a delivery tax on it. It cost him a fortune, he said, but it turned into $40 or some shit like that. So
it's all relative. Yeah, it's all relative, right?
So anyway, but he got to take it and deliver it to Cheech's hotel room. So
nice.
It kind of made his life a little bit. And some of my staff, that was a really important thing to them. Everybody wants to smoke weed with Cheech and Chong. And I probably would have. I don't smoke weed, but if they'd have offered, I'd have probably got stoned with them.
Yeah.
One of my volunteers did, or actually, I guess, staff member. But anyway, he at the end of the show, he's carrying around a coffee cup from Starbucks. And I was like, what is that? And he said, don't worry about it. I said, okay. Later, he's got the same coffee cup, but he's got it saran wrapped. I'm like, what, for real? What is that? And he said, okay, so at the end of the show, I got a phone call from another guest who said, hey, it's on. Meet us up here in front of the building at 1 o'clock or whatever, you know. So anyway, he goes up there, and him and Cheech and Chong and one other of the celebrity guests that I won't name, I guess, passed the joint around. And then Steve kept the Roach in the coffee cup. He said, putting that on my trophy wall, you know. So nice. Anyway, they burned one out, I guess, out front of the convention center.
Nice.
So that would have been cool. Like I said, I don't even smoke, but man, I probably would have. That'd have been a cool thing.
Yeah, I think I've put that on the bucket list now.
Yeah.
Because I think at one point you said, what would be one of the coolest things you could do or whatever, just in an off comment before, we were going. And I was like, that's number one. So if you get to smoke with Cheech and Chong, hell yeah.
I barely got to talk to them, but I did stop and talk to Tommy Chong for a minute while he signed my stuff. And, just nicety is nice to meet you. Hope you've enjoyed your time here, and I don't even remember how I said it. I said, do you enjoy doing these things? And he said, yeah, it was very enjoyable. And then he stopped and he said, no, I really don't, actually. He said, I don't enjoy these at all. I do enjoy the part about getting paid. And I thought that was a very candid, truthful moment from a 90-plus-year-old man. Yeah. I think he's over 90 now. But anyway, it was just, he's an old man. His filter's dirty. They took it out, threw it away. Yep. And he was gonna try to bullshit me for a minute, and he just thought, nah, you know what, fuck it. I
like see what he can do with the truth.
I like the check. Well, I'm happy to write the check, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was neat for me that a lot of my staff and volunteers did have a really good time meeting those folks. The guy that I had situated with Cheech and Chong specifically.
That's another question.
Justin asked me a month ahead of the show. He said, listen, it's my lifetime dream to meet those guys. Is there any way I can work with them? And I put him right there at their table. And he told me that was, life-changing for him. Or not life-changing,
sure.
But it was a big moment for him. One thing I will say, and this, I sort of put this in the category of blowing smoke up your ass to make you feel good, but we had a voice actor there. His name's Tom Kane. You were actually right there in front of Tom's line. He was Professor Utonium in the Powerpuff Girls. But Tom, several years ago, I've known him for years. He's always been somebody I considered a friend. But right after COVID, I think, Tom had a stroke, and he's nonverbal now, basically. He can say yes and no and nod. And he can't really sign his name. But we had all three of the Powerpuff Girls there, and knowing Tom, we just kind of ran it up the flagpole and said, would Tom want to come? And they got him a professor's lab coat and let him sit there, and they got him a stamp for his autograph so he could stamp it. And he met fans, and he made some money, which I think the money was completely secondary to him. There was a little viral moment in the photo op booth where the three girls that were the Powerpuff Girls were just in character talking with him. And it made People Magazine's website. I mean, it was really a kind of little viral clip that went around all week this week. But his agent told me Tuesday, I said, did Tom have a good time? And he said, I want to tell you something, and I'm this isn't just nicety. He said, but you gave Tom Kane a reason to live this week. He's just been at home kind of.
You didn't do like everybody else and just write him off because he'd served your purpose.
Yeah,
per se.
he just he'd been at home, not without anything to do really, and he came and he had a great time. I don't know. It that kind of made me feel good. And I said, "Well, you're being dramatic," and he said, "I'm really not." But so that was kind of a highlight for me, was getting Tom something to do. Past that, I didn't really buy. I bought a cool piece of art on the dealer floor, and no, I shouldn't tell us. Fuck it, I'll tell it. Completely harmless, but it's going to sound dramatic. I bought something on the con floor that you would not expect I'd buy on a comic convention floor. I bought a gun on the con floor. I'm not into guns. Guns aren't my thing, but I've been looking for years for a Colt 9mm that is it's a World War II era gun that is the exact gun that my grandfather would have carried in World War II. It would have been his service issued revolver or service issued weapon. And I wanted it. I have his uniform and all that, and I wanted one to put with his uniform in a little display I got in my office. But I wanted a period accurate gun. I didn't want to compromise with it. And one of the comic dealers there has known I've been looking for one for years, and he surprised me Sunday with that gun. And so I bought a gun on the con floor, completely safe. It's not wasn't a loaded weapon, nothing like that. But so that was something I didn't expect to buy there that I did.
That you got, yeah.
That I got, and now I get to put that with my grandfather's uniform, and it'll look cool. Other than that, man, pretty non-eventful. What would I like to do there, though? That was the core question.
Yep. What are the top 3 things you would have liked to have seen? You got to see them all, but just take yourself out of the one that booked them all.
Yeah. The one thing I wish I would have done that I noticed Katrina did, dirty bitch, she went upstairs and got her picture taken with Christopher Lloyd and the Back to the Future DeLorean upstairs. And I saw that picture and went, man, I didn't do that.
Huh.
I should have done that. Christopher Lloyd's getting up there in years. He won't be around to take pictures with my dumb ass.
So she got a picture with the DeLorean.
With Christopher Lloyd, yeah.
How'd she get him in and out of that mess? Because that room is...
That was a scheduled photo op. Actually,
okay.
Security snuck him up there, seated him in the DeLorean, and let you walk up and squat next to him and take your picture.
Nice. That would have been cool.
So she, because she does the schedule, she knows when all that shit is, and she was smart enough to pop in and get it done. And I wasn't. I'm never smart. Every time it's over, I go, fuck, I should have took a picture with this person, or I should have done that. I learned some celebrities that are batshit crazy that I won't name here, but a few. If you look down my guest list from this past show, you can probably pick them out. But there's a few on there that are as absolutely crazy as I knew and dreaded and also somehow hoped they would be. There are some guests that you just want to be nuts.
It just makes you feel better.
No, it's just that's just what you expect of them.
Yeah.
Randy Quaid was actually much more normal than I expected him to be.
Which brings me to my question that I've thought multiple times.
Okay.
Did you intentionally pick the volunteer that would stay with the celebrity to look like the celebrity they were sitting with?
Gosh, who was with Randy Quaid? I'm trying to remember
another
who was
big old gray beard.
I'm trying to remember who was with him.
And then the Cheech and Chong person.
That was Justin.
It was like,
he did fit in.
You look on that back wall. I was like, wait a second. I said, no wonder I'm not with them. I don't have the right look. I might have been able to pull off Cheech, but
yeah. Yeah, hadn't thought about that. But you know, it's like with anything, like people attract, and especially our longer term volunteers. If they've been with us 5 or 6 years, we always ask them what their preference is, you know. And some people will say, "Oh, I want to sit with so and so," and some people will say, "I don't want to be anywhere close to that celebrity floor." You know, some people want to be upstairs pushing lines through or something, you know, and some people want to be seated with celebrity X. It's always weird to me. Every year I'll get somebody, they'll say, "Hey man, I need a favor. I need you to, could I ask you where to put me somewhere where I'd like to be?" And usually I start dreading it then, because I start thinking, oh, they want to be right next to insert headliner here or whatever.
They want to say,
but usually no, it's something stupid like, oh no, I want to be with the third extra from Star Wars, whatever, because he was my uncle's brother's kid or something, you know, whatever. My Aunt Martha knew him, or was his teacher or something. You know, I don't know. They usually have some weird connection. But we try to satisfy all those people, so maybe that's why that happens. I don't know. The old gray-headed or old gray-bearded dudes want to be with old gray-bearded dudes, maybe. I don't know.
Now, I'll tell you one thing that I think it's all right to say on here, but it was...
Yeah, sure.
There was one observation that Dixie had, because she just came down there the one day, which I had the same...
I'm kind of curious about Dixie's take on the whole thing.
I had the same observation, and there was... I'm not going to say who the celebrities are, but there was a certain amount of... about 4 or 5 different celebrities that I recognize... They're in a lot of stuff, a lot of different types of things, not necessarily just con stuff, but obviously they were in some type of something supernatural or whatever, that barely, if ever, had any people in their line.
Yeah, there's always a few.
And then there would be somebody, she was like, well, what's that person do? And I was like, well, they're just the voice actor. And she's like, for all the X number, whatever it is. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, but they have like 50 people in their line, and this person's waited. There was a point where we were down there for like an hour and a half or something, just kind of walking, doing my thing, and she was walking around, and they saw 2 people. Yeah. And this other person, I'm doing overflow and hanging from a rafter, saying, well, just hang up here for a minute because we're trying to find a spot.
Voice actors is where it's at right now.
It's amazing.
It's just the moment in time that we're in, I think, because 35-year-old is like the major target demographic for these things. I think 35 to 40-year-olds, and those kids grew up on Nickelodeon, man, and anime. You and I were too old for anime to really have come to the U.S. and been popular, but like Dragon Ball Z and shit like that, those people, that's what they flip out over. That's their Bugs Bunny.
That's fair.
So it shocks me. I mean, I can tell you 10 voice actors that made more money than probably 10 of the people you would consider the upper echelon of the guests.
Oh, and there's no doubt. But and you know, and that one particular person I was talking about earlier, probably by my guesstimates, and I kind of like playing around with. We have a lot of time to stand there, so I'm running numbers, and I'm like, that dude fucking rolled, rolled for that.
Yeah, Amelie, was one that. I still don't know what she does. I still have no idea. I need to Google her. I need to find out.
Man, that girl, I was constantly trying to battle her line.
Yep. She crushed it, man.
Yep.
And all the people on the front row, or on that front row there, Dan Green and Eric Stewart, those are both Yu-Gi-Oh characters, you know. And again, you and I are too old for Yu-Gi-Oh, but you know, those guys crushed it. I don't know. It is always shocking to me. Well, I don't want to say that. I'll tell you a real statistic after this thing's over, after we get done here. That remind me to tell you something about Amelie. But again, I'm too old to be in tune with a lot of that. Katrina's really good at that. And to their credit, I mean, it's their job, but a lot of the agents are really good at saying, hey, this girl's on fire right now. You need to pay attention to her or whatever. Yeah. So there are a few of those guests there that I basically just took on the advisement of other promoters or agents or something. And it's just not even my thing. But, man, it's undeniable to see the fans turn, when you see the fans turn out for them. So many people came in, older people, and said, who's this? Like you were talking about Neil Newbin. Who's that guy? Why is his line so long? And you get to say, well, he's a voice in a video game. Yeah. Video game. And his line's wrapped all the fucking way around the thing for 10 hours a day straight.
I will tell you
it's longer than the Vortex line at Kings Island.
I know we've talked about Neil, but kudos to him. He impressed me multiple times with things that he did, knowing how long people would wait. And I was watching how he interacted because it was just right there. And then met him that way, kind of talked to him a little bit there. Well, I ended up in the elevator with him. And the elevator had like 5 or 6 people. And he got on there. He stood and opened. He was the first person there because I walked up to him. I was second, and I was like, "Dude, man, you got to be fucking exhausted." I was like, because this was at the end of the night. I was like, "Man, I was like, I'm sure you hear, but I was like, it was just cool how you turn every person." He's like, "Well, they've stood in line a long time," and I was like, "It was noticed, that you gave everybody their moment." And he was like, yeah, are you saying English words? Because I guess he's Australian. He was joking, but he got in. He held the door for everybody. He got in, and of course, most people didn't recognize who he was. And we were talking a little bit, but then he got in, and instead of facing forward like every human would be, because I don't want to talk right now.
No elevator training.
He turned around and spoke to every single person in there individually. Didn't like go into detail, but just like, hey, how you doing? Have you had a good time? You know, has this been a good? And like I said, most people in there didn't really realize who he was, but I was impressed with him. You know,
I always wonder what they get paid to do the video game itself. Is that a thing? Like, okay, so maybe he got paid, let's say 100, rough numbers here. Yeah, maybe he got paid $100,000 to do the video game, but now he's making $100,000 a weekend everywhere he goes for the next. And that video game Baldur's Gate 3 came out what, fucking 4 years ago or 5?
Yep.
And he's probably been doing a show every weekend since then.
Just banging them out.
Banging them out, man. That's the life right there. That's what I want to do if I'm going to a Comic-Con.
Oh, my God. To do audio work.
Yeah, and then fucking...
Make $100,000 in a weekend just going to sign
go
some
fucking
signatures.
sign autographs. Yeah. Man, crazy times. It used to be the ticket to a lifetime of conventions to have a bit part on Star Wars. You know, if you have 7 seconds of screen time in any Star Wars movie, you can go sign autographs. Hell, you don't even need 7 seconds of screen time. You need 1 second of screen time in a Star Wars movie to go sign autographs, because the Star Wars fandom is fucking psychotic about...
They're going to know that ancillary character that was sitting in the corner playing cards in the bar scene as, Joe Fat walked through.
And by God, I need him on my poster.
Yeah.
You know, I need his autograph on my poster. It's crazy. But now anime and voice work's the same way. If they get, if they get a couple good voice roles, they can sign autographs for Lord knows how long, the rest of eternity right now, I guess. Because generationally, somehow... I guess as a society as a whole, we're obsessed with autographs still, and I've been that way my whole life, kinda. I did the sports thing a little bit when I was younger, but autographs is one of those things that you, at its core, you're like, why the fuck do people pay money for this?
That's not my thing, so I'm one of those people that was like,
but me, guilty as charged. I do it, You
just stood in line for 4 hours to pay somebody $200 for 3, for 30 seconds and a signature.
Now, I will say, I don't do that. I've been to tons of conventions. I don't remember the last time I don't remember ever really waiting in line and paying for a signature or whatever. To me, even when I was younger, an autograph was something I wanted in the wild. It was like cheating to go.
Yeah.
You want to. At 14 years old, I met Billy Martin in a bar in Cleveland and got an autograph, and that's how you want to get an autograph.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, but man, people love it, and I'm happy to do it for them. I'm happy to make it possible for them. I hope and pray that they keep loving doing it, because it's what I've built a business around. So we're gonna keep trying to make it happen. Anyway, what else? Anything good?
I think since I found out down there, you should probably announce at least what you got coming up in September.
Shit, we're gonna. No, we hadn't told really anybody.
Yep.
And I put it on just a little sign here and there, and we put a little card in everybody's bag. We're gonna do it again September 4th to 6th is Labor Day weekend. So if you're out there in podcast land and you want to work at a comic convention Labor Day weekend, or if you want to come to one, we will have one in Lexington, Kentucky. We're going to start announcing guests here pretty soon already, and tickets go on sale April the 15th at LexingtonComicCon.com. Cheap plug. What else? Something else. There was something else. There really was something else I wanted to talk about on this. Oh, fuck, I got it. This might start deep conversation.
Awesome.
And I don't know if you were just drunk or if this is a real thing. At the party, you said to me that we needed to talk about something on the podcast. And I said, oh, what? And you said, you walked by me a couple times and didn't acknowledge me today.
No.
And I don't know what were you just drunken in your feels and I happened to walk by you once and not wave, or what?
I had no drinks when I said that.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to explain. So basically we've never been.
I thought I put baby in a corner or something.
No.
I wasn't sure.
Now, what was kind of funky for me in the moment is we've always been in situations where we're kind of equal, or we're kind of like doing the same kind of thing. This was a situation where like I said, I knew I was going down there to work. I was going out to help, and it was going to be busy. And the only thing that, like I said something to Dix. I was like, it's not wrong. I'm not hurt. It's just weird that he has walked by me like 20 times and didn't even acknowledge.
Dude,
probably a couple times brushed my shoulder and it not even like, hey man, what's up? Wow. And I was like, it's what he should do. So I was like, I was never butthurt about it. I just thought it was, I don't know what that says about me, but it was just kind of funny that I was like,
well, for what it's worth, weird. For what it's worth, what I said earlier is true. Most of the time I walk down there, I would see you across the room and I go, okay, things are cool.
Yeah.
But
now go find something that's not cool so I can fix it.
People do tell me a lot that down there, I turn off most of my friendship thing.
Which I
don't mean to. Yeah. I think I just get very focused on where I'm going in that particular 2 seconds and don't notice what's going on around me.
Yeah.
And my ADD is as such, and people calling and asking for things is as such down there to where literally there's a 37-second lifespan on any quest down there. It's like, okay, for the next 37 seconds, I'm going to go get a Red Bull for so-and-so. Or I'm going to have, oh, fuck, something's going on upstairs. I'm at a dead run,
Yeah. Or you stop there to just shoot the shit for 30 seconds. Yeah. Because every time you would stop for a second, 3 other people would want to come over and tell some other experience, or you'd have somebody else doing stuff. So
I try not to stop and stand still too much because I do get hemmed up a lot down there. I just thought of something that we need to address on this podcast. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about now, but I want to tell you the funniest phone call I got all weekend.
All right.
So it's how I actually got woke up from the nap. My event manager from the Lexington Center rang my phone, and my phone rang, and I went, fuck, was I sleeping? Anyway, she said, so we have reports of a man in a cat suit on a motorized scooter handing out cat food and saying inappropriate things to people.
Yep, I witnessed the cat.
Oh, you saw it?
The cat figure eighted me.
Okay.
I was walking over to the con.
To
he just, and I was like, and so I'm walking over, and this was on Thursday or Friday, my first day there.
Okay.
And I'm walking over, and this person just was like, circling around me, and I'm like, that is an interesting thing for Jarrod to have out in the middle of the fucking con.
I didn't have that.
But that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I figure, okay, this is just part of what happens here, and I was like, oh, that's fucking weird. So then I went on and then heard about the, doing the cat food, and then heard the
so they gave him a warning and asked him not to be saying weird things to people. And then 30 minutes later, I guess, they had a call from a vendor complaining upstairs that someone was fucking with their merchandise. And they go up there, and it's the cat guy again. And what he's doing is the vendor is selling swords, and he was putting stickers on all the swords that said for rectal use only. So she said, this is the second time we've had to warn this guy to quit being weird. What do you want me to do? I said, just put his ass out.
Yeah, bounce.
And they bounced him, but he came back the next day, I think. And the next day, I think he came back on Sunday, and no problems reported out of him. But I don't, it was just like, I don't know
the forethought that had to go to have a scooter.
Yeah.
To have a furry suit, and to have the stickers made up.
Yeah, I was like, this guy came here for fucking shenanigans, Anyway, that was the best one. Handing out cat food and saying inappropriate things. I never heard what the inappropriate things were. I don't think it was like sexual or stalkerish or whatever, but or they would have put him out immediately. But anyway, so that's anyway. That was the highlight of my weekend. All right, you got anything else?
I think that's good.
All right, fuck it. Later.
And just like that, another episode of Two Guys, Two Questions is in the books.
We laughed, we learned. Well, we mostly just laughed.
Yeah, and if you made it this far, congratulations. You now have random knowledge you never asked for.
You're welcome.
Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. Or don't, but just know if you don't, we're bringing back the squeaky toys.
Oh, it's coming back either way.
Until next time, same 2 guys, 2 questions, and absolutely no idea what we're doing.
Perfect.
Later.